would say is a symptom of hoarding.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you were able to bring us here because of the work you do. And you're actually going to help with this situation, right?
I am.
Yeah.
We received funding from the state of Colorado through the Denver Regional Council of Governments, and they're giving me a little less than $60,000 to help the 6 counties that we serve.
Yeah.
So
when you walk into a home like this, you say there's different levels, and I just wonder, how do we know if our situation or our loved one situation is, just a lot of clutter and collecting things, or if it's a real situation like a hoarding disorder? How do you evaluate that? How do you know?
Well, a hoarding disorder is different from just someone who collects.
Right.
The disorder has to do more with the need to collect things and keep collecting things. They're unable to discard or dispose of things, even if they're empty bottle cans, empty containers, newspapers, trash bags, old food. And there are different levels of hoarder. I think society uses it very broadly, but a true hoarder, there are different ratings.
Let's look at it. So if you can see this picture, my fingers might be in your way, but you can see number 1 is a low level of hoarding. And what would you say we're in right now?
We are probably in a home that's probably more between the 5th and 6th level of hoarding. It's usually waist high. It's almost in every room. It also is, there are no pathways, hardly any pathways at all. And what you discover with the hoarding, which I really like the depiction of the hoarding in here, because as the shame and the embarrassment of the home that the person is living in and the way they've been treated, the shades or the blinds go further and further and further down. They're hiding the fact that they have this compulsive disorder.
And so you bring up a good point where it can lead to more isolation and other problems.
Yes, and as the aging population ages, you find that your adult children move away. They no longer live close to you. They have families of their own. Your grandchildren grow up and go to college and have families of their own. So grandma or grandpa or your sister or brother or yourself no longer have as many visitors as you normally would. We'll add the hoarding to that. Now there's no pathways. If family members do come in, they're quick to judge the condition of the home. They don't want to stay in the home.
And does that make it worse when family members come in and judge?
It makes it really bad.
Okay.
I've never seen a person thrive in a condition where someone is shaming them, no matter the disorder or the relationship between one human being or another.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No one ever thrives in a negative environment.
No, that makes sense. So we're here, if you're just joining us, we actually are in a home that has symptoms of hoarding. And we are here with Miss Loretta Trujillo. And she actually has services that help people with this disorder. And we are showing you what it looks like. This would be a 6 or 7 level of hoarding. And it's much different than clutter. I think that's the point we want to make, is this is much different than just collecting things or just having a lot of clutter around.
Correct.
This is an actual disorder, and you were telling us a little bit about the attachment to some of these things. They look very innocuous to us, like I wouldn't necessarily think to keep that. But to a hoarder, it's very important to keep.
It is, and I think in a country full of waste, I think they see that going on a lot around their surroundings. The impacts to keeping things is really the need that they might need it at another time.
Okay.
They really want to see things recycled or reused.
Yes.
I call them the original recyclers. When we go in to do a cleaning, we work with the client. We try to recycle as many items as possible.
That's
whether
important.
they're paper products, whether they're plastic or bottles, or anything that can be used again.
Yeah.
Because it is pretty wasteful what we do, but we also want to minimize the amount of things in the home, also the potential for fall hazards,
Right, because
fire
it can
hazards.
be dangerous.
Yes, and the client who lives in this home now did have a fall. He did slip coming out of where he sits and watches television, and he dislocated his shoulder.
Okay, so it is very dangerous.
It is very dangerous. The fire hazards are also very
And then getting
high.
in to help that person might be a little bit challenging as well.
Yeah, a lot of the emergency medical personnel can't sometimes even get a gurney in the house to lift the person out of the home and into the ambulance. I've seen them have to physically take them out or have them walk on their own accord,
Okay.
which can be very dangerous.
So we know that this is a kind of a heavy topic. If you have questions for us, we can try and answer them. If we don't have the answers, right, we can kind of look for some resources for you. But if you know someone who has this kind of a condition, right, it is a disorder, then, you know, if you have questions for us, I'd like to talk to you a little bit, Loretta, about what you do. How do you help people?
We do get the funding from the state of Colorado and Senior Resource Center through the CHORS program, which is the program that I manage. We are able to do the cleanings.
Okay.
We provide the funding to go in. We do have biohazard companies who work and have to be approved by the state of Colorado. The residents do have to be 60 years and older
Okay.
and live in Adams, Broomfield, Denver, Jefferson, Gilpin, or Clear Creek counties.
Okay.
So we go in and we do the assessment. We come up with a cost estimate that I agree on along with the biohazard team. The client or resident is always included in all
That's
the work
important,
that's
right?
being done. Yes, it's no different than me sending someone into your house and say, surprise, I'm going to clean out your house and then you'll be happy, but you'll be gone for a week. I'm going to get rid of what I want and then you're going to be happy when I'm done. And there's going to be this.
That's probably not the case, right? For any of
It's
us.
not the case. It never works.
Right.
It doesn't work even for those of us who don't have the disorder.
Right. That's what I'm saying is if you came in and cleaned my house without my
Without-
knowledge, it probably wouldn't work for
Or
me.
without your input.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah.
But we provide the funding. We come up with a strategy on who's going to work with the client. We try to match them up with someone who is kind and keeps that respect, that dignity.
That's important.
It's so important, and the client has to be comfortable. The number one relationship that has to develop between both of them is trust.
Yes.
So that means when the client turns away or he leaves or he's not around, it's not okay to put a pile of trash in a bag and take it out to the trash, because then you're violating that trust between that relationship.
Okay. And you've experienced this.
I have done cleaning in the past to identify techniques or ideas on how to do the hoarder cleanups. I had a woman that I worked with that wouldn't allow me but to pick up all the trash from the floor and put it in boxes and then stack it in her living room.
And so that's what you did?
That's exactly what I did.
Okay.
And then
was that helpful?
It was because we were developing a relationship of trust. I remember the second time she sent me to rake leaves. I thought, why when there's so much to do in the house? But she was testing me to see if I was trustworthy or not.
Got it.
And she said, I only want you to bag up 8 bags of leaves. And that's exactly what I did. I put them on the curb. The next time I came back, she said, you can clean my kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And
So it's a
that's when-
process.
It's a process of trust, of letting them know that you're there to get the home in the order they want.
Right.
I do talk to them about
So it's about
fall
control a
hazards.
little bit too.
Yeah, it's about their home, how they want it to look. We come up with an idea of how we want the kitchen to look. We work towards a goal. A lot of them say, I want my grandkids to be able to come into the home,
Yes.
but my adult daughter doesn't want to step foot in this house.
Right.
The ultimate goal is for grandma or your sister or your brother to be able to do specific things in the home.
And you work with them to decide what that is.
They decide, and
Yeah.
we work with them to get them to that goal.
Yeah.
And then the other component of that is mental health counseling. I would like to see more mental health counselors who are equipped to come into the home to work with them, really to uncover why they're hoarding.
Right, because there's an underlying issue. So we even talked to you a little bit about a client that you had that you did go ahead and do a lot of cleanup. And then when the mental health counseling kind of fell by the wayside, the condition started emerging again.
Yeah, we had a phenomenal mental health counselor who started to do work. She had done work in the past with hoarders. Her mother was a hoarder. And so she developed a support group, and we brought in the clients that we had done cleaning for that week. They started to meet. We met at a restaurant, we had lunch, we shared a meal together, and then we talked about what was going on, what needed to get done. And they formed this relationship of taking that isolation out of their lives and depression, because it's always good to have a meal with someone else, to share a common subject, which is hoarding, and to take them out of the home for a little while. And she was doing phenomenal work. My funding ended. She moved out of the state, and so now we're trying to regroup again.
Gotcha.
To help these clients to form that support group. I also want to see a maintenance program. Once we're done, once we do the cleanup, we could the pathways, we've gotten the home in the condition they want it to, and then having someone come back on a monthly basis to continue to keep the home in the condition the client wants it.
Now, you deal with a lot of people who have this disorder. How big of a problem is this?
You know, I was reading up on it, and they say it's anywhere from 5 to 7%, or 19 million Americans. I think the percentage is much higher. The reason we don't know the true percentage or the number is because it's such a well-kept secret. When hoarders do not want anyone to see their home, they keep people out, including their own family members.
Well, and that's why it's a big deal that we're here today, right? Is because this is what it might look like if it was hoarding. I don't think I would have known that had you not shown us. And I could have also thought it was just a lot of things when it's really a disorder. So we have a question.
Well, someone had just asked the name of the organization that you're with again, and then resources if they're not in the counties that you serve, because someone had commented that they're disabled, they are looking for resources outside of the counties you serve. Is there any other resources you can guide people to?
That's a great question.
Yeah, so I'm Seniors Resource Center, and we're at 3227 Chase Street. My name is Loretta Trujillo. You can reach me at 303-235-6952.
And we can go ahead and put that in the feed too, so you don't have to remember the number, but thanks for saying it. So that if you got that, that's great.
Yeah, and if you're out of the county areas, check your counties, do a Google or search to see if there's any other nonprofits or for-profits that do it for the disabled. We only do 60 and older. We have tried to get funding for those under 60, but this is the first phase, second phase. Look into the Google site, see if you can find anyone that does cleanup. Also contact some biohazard teams who do cleanups.
So biohazard teams,
yes.
You could Google that.
Sometimes they will do it at a lower fee, or sometimes they have scholarships to be able to help with the cleanup.
Got it. So this is bringing up a good point. So finding resources for a loved one. What are some of the things that you can do if you think that a family friend or your family has an issue with this disorder?
The number one thing is to keep the relationship. You have a loving relationship with them. A lot of time I don't have the family at all involved in the cleanup, because there is pain associated with doing some of the cleanup, and you'll be the first to feel the degree of that pain. So we really ask family members to do positive affirmations. Contact a biohazard cleanup. Contact us. Contact someone, a counselor.
So the
who
first
has
thing
expertise.
is to keep that relationship going with your loved one, because withdrawing, it can be very upsetting to that person or damaging.
The way I talk to a lot of family members is I take them out of the cleanup. I have them do positive feedback. I also have them help with maybe taking some of the recyclable things to a recycle center. Take mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, brother, sister with you. They're seeing that it is being reused and recycled.
That's important.
It's such a positive impact.
Okay, good.
To them. Reach out to mental health counselors. Give us a call. Also remember that it is a disorder.
Yes,
that's important. Being upset with them, threatening, shaming, criticizing, ridiculing doesn't really do any good or cause them to thrive.
It can actually do damage.
It'll isolate them more.
Yeah.
Pretty soon they won't let you in their home at all.
Yeah. Okay. So very good. Thank you for shedding light on this situation. We really appreciate it. And thank you for the work you're doing to help people that have this disorder. And we appreciate your showing us what this could look like. And if you have a family member or anyone that is suffering from this kind of disorder, please do try and find resources in your communities. And we'll do some research ourselves to see if
Okay.
we can't list some things in our Facebook feed.